Hey, I'm Jimmy Sheehan in Contracting Plus. Today I want to give you some information on what expenses you can claim to help reduce your tax liability. Working from home has been more a necessity than a choice for many professional contractors and employees alike, so I thought it would be good to first run through these types of expenses and then I'll cover the more general expenses professional contractors can and should be claiming. The first costs are in relation to the actual setup of your home office. Any costs a self-employed individual incurs in setting up and fitting out a home office are tax deductible. Think desk, chair, shelving, lamps, printers, ink, paper, stationery, all the normal things you'd normally find in an office. For employees, if your employer decides to provide these for you, there's no benefit in kind tax on them. The next expense to come to mind is light and heat. The e-workers allowance is a daily rate of €3.20 and it's approved by the Revenue Commissioners. It can be paid tax-free to those working from home as a contribution towards the additional light and heat costs you're likely to incur. If you work from home for 100 days in the year, that's €320 tax-free. For a full-time home worker, that's over €750 a year, again tax-free. The alternative to this is to claim a portion of your actual electricity and gas bills. This is straightforward for the self-employed, and Revenue has clear guidelines on how to do this if you're an employee. Phone and internet costs are also allowable, though only for the self-employed. This applies to both mobile phones and home broadband and landlines. Depending on your circumstances, you could claim up to 100% on some of these costs. So what other business expenses could you be claiming as a professional contractor? Remember, you're self-employed, you're running your own business, and that means you can claim business expenses. If you're spending money on anything, then ask yourself, is all or some of this spend necessary to allow me to carry out my work? If it is, then you should be declaring it as a business expense. In Ireland, our highest effective rate of tax for the self-employed is 52% if you operate through a limited company. So €100 of expenses claimed equals €52 savings in tax. Now, it might not sound like much initially, but if you have an average spend of €100 a week on expenses, over the course of a year that's over €2,500. If you knocked on my door once a year and handed me $2,500 grand, I'd be pretty happy. Using an expense app like the one we provide at Contracting Plus makes claiming expenses easy. Just take a photo of the expense and hit submit. Probably the least known but easiest expense to claim is the small benefit scheme. Strictly speaking, it isn't actually an expense, rather a piece of tax legislation which allows your limited company to purchase one voucher every year for you up to the value of €500. This scheme is the easiest way to pay yourself €500 tax-free every single year. Often overlooked expenses are things like courses, conferences, training, things that are relevant to your industry and necessary to keep your skills current or allow you to upskill. Next are things like coffees and lunches or any other form of reasonable business development expense, which involves you maintaining your business network, looking for new contracts, or working on existing relationships. Modes of travel are next. If you want to buy a bike, then you can spend up to €1,000 through the Bike to Work scheme and save over €500 in tax. That's for both employees and professional contractors. A contentious area is mileage and subsistence, but you can claim business journeys. Travel from home to a normal place of work is not a business trip unless your normal place of work is your home and you need to travel on an ad hoc or a regular basis to a client premises. However, you can get tax relief on your commute if you use public transport by purchasing a monthly travel pass. Both employees and professional contractors can claim tax relief on your home to work journeys that way. That's it for now, but keep an eye out for future videos on how everyone can save tax. Everyone has to pay tax, but there's nothing that says you've got to leave a tip. Take care.